At a university as large as Penn State, there are many unique clubs that aren't found in other colleges and universities across the country. One such club is in the Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science, the Storm Chase team at Penn State. Founded in 2013, the goal of this club is to educate members about severe weather. This ultimately culminates in a group of students going on a trip at the end of each spring semester to do exactly what the club is named for, Storm Chase. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2022 chase was the first trip since 2019. Pulling the trip off required a ton of preparation throughout the school year.
Storm Chase hosts meetings either twice monthly or once monthly where we educate our members on forecasting, photography, and the safety of chasing severe weather.
Thunderstorms of interest can be very dangerous. Keeping students safe is first and foremost for the Storm Chase team.
So we definitely have specifically written out rules for the club because we are a high-risk club here at Penn State. So we don't get too close to any strong thunderstorms that can cause hail damage. Occasionally it can spawn a tornado.
Some of the hazards for the team don't come in the form of weather.
Also, we're not allowed to travel on dirt roads. It's fine to pull off on them. We, as a club, are absolutely not chasing anything as soon as the sun is setting.
The club does its best to balance risk versus reward, but certain types of storms are simply off limits.
We just don't interact with MCSs or QLCS systems that frequently because they're very difficult to get good viewing of any interesting storms on without putting yourself into immediate danger. Most times, if there is a tornado that spawns in them, they're rain-wrapped and very hard to see from the outside, so they're really not what we go for as a club.
It's not just the safety of chasers that the club worries about.
These are our members' cars, and we do value them bringing their cars for us a lot, so we want to keep that as safe as possible. You're not allowed to take a student car on the chase without it being inspected right before we go. We also force everyone to get an oil change before we go.
Rising costs for hotels and fuel had a big impact on the 2022 Storm Chase. 3 cars are used for these storm chases, and they each rack up about 5,000 miles on them over the course of the chase. In addition to university-allocated funding, the club must fundraise to make the chase possible.
We worked a concession stand in Bryce Jordan Center so that we had enough money to pay for gas and hotel rooms on this trip. We didn't go out during the peak of when gas was its absolute most expensive, but we went out while it was still already risen by a decent bit, so gas ended up being a lot over budget.
The hard work of fundraising and planning out logistics makes for a worthwhile experience. In May of 2022, the chase left on Mother's Day, driving from State College to Iowa City. From there, the chase was on. Each day began with forecast discussions, which were led by Kyle and the trip's graduate advisor, Grant Lashott. They served to help the team figure out a general area as to where to go that day. From there, the cars needed to react to conditions as they happened.
Being in the lead car and being the people in charge of the chase pretty much more or less is definitely stressful, especially early on. By the end of the 3rd or 4th day of actually chasing, most of the input was coming from other cars. It was really nice to hear other people's opinions, and I think it actually ended up being better for the forecasting and the radar analysis. I think that really helped with getting us on the right storms.
After spending the first 3 days in and around Minnesota and Wisconsin, the chase headed to South Dakota, where a moderate risk for severe weather was issued by the Storm Prediction Center. While hail and tornadoes were expected hazards, the damaging straight-line wind threat, which ultimately was confirmed to be a derecho, easily made this the most dangerous setup on the chase. As a result, the team moved near, but not into the path of this storm. With a hotel booked in Brookings, South Dakota, the team returned from their chase that day to see that the hotel received a direct hit from the intense derecho, which had measured wind gusts of over 100 miles per hour.
Their hotel there lost internet connection and power, and so they didn't really have good running water or anything. So we actually ended up heading farther south from Brookings, South Dakota to Sioux Falls to stay with a club member's family for the night, which was definitely really fun, and it was very nice of them to take us.
But the club members aren't the only people chasing these storms.
We definitely encountered some chaser convergence. It's very real. It's like a traffic jam in the middle of nowhere on a road that is not built for traffic jams. There is some use in having an idea of where people are clustering up because it can be kind of like a fact check for your own forecast.
The most significant storms that the Chase saw in 2022 were found in the northern plains, but some of the most beautiful photos were captured as the team headed farther south.
I am definitely a big fan of chasing in Kansas. I think it's probably the best place in the world to chase storms. We did get a lot of large hail that we were able to follow from a safe distance and pick up. And just in general, that storm was definitely the most beautiful one that I think we chased.
The final day of the chase saw the team venture down to Oklahoma, which was the farthest south the group made it in 2022. Sticking with the theme from Kansas, the storms in Oklahoma were isolated and very photogenic.
We got a couple of pretty classic supercells that spawned up for us. And I mean, the viewing was immaculate, really awesome.
The Storm Chase team at Penn State is a unique student club that educates members and provides the opportunity for a life-changing experience. This is made possible because the club works so hard to fundraise and prepare members on how to chase safely. After going on the chase, members have a much better understanding on storm development, how to predict where storms will form, and where to view a storm safely. Along the way, members enjoy breathtaking landscapes and awe-inspiring storms, gaining a new respect for the power of Mother Nature and friendships that will last a lifetime. For Weather World, I'm Kevin Appleby.